What is the difference between the Fair Housing Act and ADA? If you are navigating the world of real estate investing, understanding the legal landscape is essential. Two important laws that often come up are the Fair Housing Act and the Americans with Disabilities Act. While they both aim to protect individuals from discrimination, they serve different purposes and apply in distinct ways. The Fair Housing Act focuses specifically on housing. This law prohibits discrimination based on race, color, national origin, religion, sex, familial status, and disability in the sale, rental, and financing of housing. For real estate investors and property managers, this means you must provide equal access to housing opportunities. You also need to make reasonable accommodations for tenants with disabilities. This could include allowing modifications to units or ensuring that accessible units are available. Additionally, the Fair Housing Act has specific design and construction requirements for multifamily housing built after 1991. These requirements ensure that new buildings are accessible to people with disabilities. On the other hand, the Americans with Disabilities Act applies to public accommodations and commercial facilities. This includes businesses, government services, and places open to the public. For real estate investors, the ADA mainly impacts areas like leasing offices, parking lots, and other public spaces associated with a property. These areas must be accessible to individuals with disabilities. However, the ADA generally does not apply to private residential units or the policies governing housing, except for government-owned or public housing. To summarize, the Fair Housing Act governs housing-related activities such as renting, selling, and financing. In contrast, the Americans with Disabilities Act governs public and commercial spaces. The Fair Housing Act covers the entire housing property, including tenant selection and dwelling units. The ADA, however, focuses on common areas and public spaces like leasing offices. The Fair Housing Act protects multiple classes, including those with disabilities, while the Americans with Disabilities Act specifically protects individuals with disabilities. When it comes to accessibility requirements, the Fair Housing Act mandates accessible design in certain housing types. The Americans with Disabilities Act mandates accessibility in public and commercial facilities. For real estate investors, compliance with both laws is essential. It helps avoid discrimination claims and ensures accessibility. The Fair Housing Act governs tenant interactions and housing policies, while the Americans with Disabilities Act governs the accessibility of public areas related to the property. When both laws apply, the stricter accessibility standard usually takes precedence. Understanding these differences is vital for managing properties legally and inclusively. This knowledge ensures fair treatment of all tenants and visitors while minimizing legal risks.